And so that's what got me interested in teaching this with the Boy Scouts, and that's why I'm here now. My one good story is I taught this class, and one of the kids who took it, he was a really big skier. He went up to Vermont with a couple of his buddies. They were doing some double black diamond trail, and he went this way and his buddies all went that way, and it was dark, and he got down, he's no idea where he was, and he pulled out his little survival kit, made himself a little shelter, made a little fire, and sat down and waited until he got rescued. 4 hours later, they showed up on the snowmobile to pick him up. And he went back and said, Dad, he goes, I had my little survival kit. He goes, I was confident in what I was doing. 4 hours in the woods by yourself is a long time. And he's like, I was nervous. He goes, I was ready to spend the night there.
Okay, we're going to start all over.
Yeah, all right. Hi, my name's Pete, and so that's my one good story.
That's very cool.
And it made me feel good that the kid actually paid attention. And I make all the Boy Scouts prepare themselves with a little survival kit. It can't be big. It can't be a backpack. It has to be something that you can put in your pocket. If you're a fisherman or a hunter, or you ride bicycles through the woods, or you like the snowmobile, anything that's outside or outdoors that where you're away from towns, you should have a survival kit with you. And what you put in it is up to you. Of course, there's the basics, I want something to cut, a container, a cordage. They have all those lists that, things you should, the list is this long. And you're gonna take a bag, and you're gonna I'm not freaking taking that fishing, and you're gonna throw it to the side. Personally, I know I can survive a night in the woods with that. I'm a cigarette smoker. I always carry a lighter. Everyone in here carries a knife. I seen somebody want to cut a piece of rope. 9 guys are handing them their knives. Make yourself a little kit. If you're a snowmobiler, you should, instead of packing a 6-pack of beer, pack a little secrets box with some basic supplies in it, so you can make it easier yourself to survive if you do get lost, if you do get injured in the woods. Whatever reason, you get separated from everybody else. That kid sat in the woods for 4 hours. Luckily, he had a couple things with him. Wilderness survival is not sitting on your couch, but at Haagen-Dazs watching TV and texting on Facebook. It sucks. It's not easy. It's not fun. It's not comfortable. This is survival. You will be breathing by the end of it until somebody rescues you. There's 7 steps or things you have to overcome to survive in the wilderness. Might be a little different than you think. First one is mental health. You're a nurse, you're an EMT. High stress leads to poor decisions. Poor decisions in the woods alone could lead to your death or you not doing so well. When you get lost and you make bad decisions, I can cross that river. I bet you there's a house on the other side of that hill. Or I bet you if I keep walking in this direction, I'll eventually find a house, or I'll eventually find a road. And you start getting nervous and the sun's going down, you end up making poor decisions. The first thing you have to do is control your noggin. If you're not in the right mental state, I don't care what you have on for supplies, I don't care how much training you have, if you're not in the right mental place, you're not going to make good decisions. My buddy's out hunting. It's the end of the day. Him and his old buddy are heading to the road. They're shooting the shit. They're waiting for the rest of the crew to come in. They hear crash, 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 crash. He goes, oh, it's a deer. No, it's a guy running through the woods, full tilt. Hey, hey. The guy stops. He comes running over. Oh, thank God I found you. Thank God I found you. I'm supposed to meet my buddies at the road at sunset. I have no idea where I am. We're separated and I don't know where I am. And they're like, hey, calm down, calm down. Dude, where's your jacket? Where's your gun? He goes, well, I got hot. So I took my jacket off and it's with my gun. They're like, where'd you put it? I don't know. But I have to find my buddies, I have to get there. They're like, relax. Shh, listen. He's like, no. They're like, listen. You can hear the cars going by. They're 50 yards from the road. But he was running with it. He had taken his jacket off and left his gun in the woods because He wasn't there mentally. He was nervous, he was scared. He thought he was gonna be lost in the woods overnight. You got a gun and a jacket. I'd want those two things if I was lost in the woods.
Two things you don't want.
He left them behind because he wasn't in the right mental place. Physical. If you crash your snowmobile and your buddies leave and they don't know you crashed and you went off the path and you rolled down the hill and you have a broken arm, the first thing you do before you light a fire, before you start setting traps for game, you have to take care of physical. Make sure you're healthy. Cuts can turn infected. Blisters on your feet. If you're running through the woods trying to gather supplies and stuff and you have blisters, it's going to make for a shit day. And you're going to end up not being able to walk, not being able to do what you have to do. Once you take care of your head, you got to take care of your body. It's huge. You're going to get dirty. You're going to get dirt in your cuts. You're going to be gutting fish with your hands and getting stuff in cuts and everything. You have to take care of yourself. In your little survival kit should be a basic first aid. You're not going to want a first aid kit. You want like at least minimal first aid stuff to take care of yourself physically. One of my favorite subjects, shelters. A human being, an average human, can have no oxygen for 3 minutes. They can survive in bad weather for 3 hours. They can survive without water for 3 days. They can survive without food for 3 weeks. So before you're thinking about water, before you're thinking about food, you gotta think about your health. 50-degree weather with high winds can lead to hypothermia. Doesn't have to be 30 degrees though. It can be 50. Wind will cut the water right out of your body. It'll dehydrate you. Hypothermia sets in, boom, you're right back to number 2. Right back to it. If you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not staying warm, if you're not protecting yourself from the weather, you're not going to survive. Shelters, I love building shelters. We do this with the Boy Scouts. They get minimal supplies. They get 10 feet of paracord. They get their little Boy Scout knives, and we go out and we build shelters. We don't use tarps. We don't use anything. We use natural things. One of your best things, we live in New England, pine trees. Pine trees are awesome. They naturally shed water. You can make a bed out of them. When you put them over a shelter, they wick all the water away to keep the heat in. A basic shelter.
Are you talking more like a hemlock, spruce over,
Yes.
over a white pine type?
White pine is a thinner needle, but anything with the thicker the needles, the better it's going to be. You're a tree expert. You know, I would love to go camping with you because you're going to say, that's a spruce, that's a pine, that's a white pine, that's a red pine, that's this, that's it. I know it's either an evergreen or don't got leaves on it. I actually taught this class and we were out and I said, oh yeah, that's a white pine. The guy goes, no it's not. I'm like, well, what is it? He goes, that's a spruce. I'm like, oh, all right guys, it's a spruce. Anything that, you know, an evergreen, anything with the green needles on it, that's going to be one of your best things. Ferns are good.
Yeah, it seems like a hemlock would be probably one of the best because they can take a beating and they're just thick and.
Yes, that's what
You know.
deers live on the hemlock. They love that stuff. When you build a shelter, find a tree with a fork in it. I'm an excellent artist, right? Cross member, and then you just make ribs down to the ground. And you cover it. You just roofs on when you shingle your roof, you don't start from the top and work your way down. You start from the bottom and work your way up.
So everything overlaps.
So everything overlaps and the water sheds off of it. One of the biggest mistakes a lot of people make when they make a shelter, they want to make it the size of this room. You should be able to just lengthen your body, maybe a little bigger, and height, just enough so you can sit down in it. This is a basic shelter. So you want to, when you get this stick, you don't pick it up off the ground. Don't find a dead stick. This is going to support all the weight of all the crap you're throwing on top of it. This is your main beam of your house. This has to be supported. These here, a little bit thinner, you know, and then you can weave smaller sticks in between to hold the stuff, and then you can start laying on the pine branches, the ferns, anything like that. If you make this 3 feet thick, you can pick up leaves and just throw it on top of it and pile it up. 3 feet thick, you can survive the winter in that. You can live in that. You can even make a little plug for the front and pull it in behind you, whether it's a ball of just brush and pull it in to keep all that heat in there. You'll be able to survive anything with that. When you step out in the back and look through it, make sure you can't see spots in it. One of the guys who's building shelters, he'd have you build a shelter, then he'd come over with a 5-gallon bucket of water and throw it on top of it to see if it would go through. You'd be surprised, an hour's worth of work, what kind of shelter you can build. We've done this in the backyard. Me and my son went up and we built a shelter that lasted 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now you prep that ground inside too, I imagine?
Now, if you want it cold weather, the ground is cold. The ground's gonna suck the body heat right out of you. Spruce, pine, ferns, anything you can find, get yourself a layer down bottom. So you're separating your body from the ground. You don't wanna lay on the bare ground. We do a winter camp out where it was 8 degrees in the morning. We woke up, I mean, these are 12-year-old kids, 8 degrees out, no tents. First thing they do, they throw stuff on the ground, then they put a sleeping bag down, then they sleep on top of that to get themselves off the ground. I was gonna be the smart guy. I had them all beat. I bought a chair with the feet up, I put it right next to the fireplace. I'm like, I'm gonna sleep right here. They're like, no you ain't. I'm like, this is awesome, I'm gonna be all set. I never had a worse night's sleep in my life. I froze my butt off. That cold air came underneath me. I couldn't feed that fire fast enough. I'm waking up every half hour, throwing another log on there. The fire doesn't keep you warm. A fire is not meant to keep a human warm. It's for everything else that you're gonna do after. The shelter, your clothing, that's the stuff that's gonna keep you warm. Squirrels live in New England. Squirrels, they're not some awesome creature. They build a nest. They carry all these leaves together and then they stick themselves inside of it. And they can survive all winter long like that.
I run into a lot of them.
You run into a lot of them. Yeah, and those nests are awesome, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's what you're building, a squirrel's nest. Shelter is first thing you're thinking about building. There's no materials around to build a shelter. Find a rock to sit behind. Find if it's like snowing out and there's a lot dig out a little pit around a tree and get underneath there. Get yourself out of the elements. Then you can start thinking about other things. But get yourself out of the elements and get yourself to a situation where you can survive. We all carry this cordage, and I want to show this during the shelter building. Everyone carries paracord. I don't know if you guys don't know this, but paracord is multiple ropes. So when you take your paracord and you break, this is crappy paracord, I got for nothing. But I would take that apart and I'd build my shelter out of this and I'd tie the branch down or whatever. I'd use this for my shelter. I can use this for my snares, my fishing line, anything else that I need. I just doubled the length of my rope. Oh wait, I tripled it, quadrupled it. I got 20 pieces of rope here. Now if this thing was 10 feet long, I'd have these all 10 feet long and I could weave them back together. I could tie 2 of them together and have a 20-foot fishing line. So know what you have with you and know your equipment that you can do stuff like that is going to help you. Instead of using up your 1 10-foot piece of rope, you can break it down. I mean, here, you're a pretty strong guy. Try to break that, and that's just the center.
Yes.
That's pretty strong stuff. You can probably build a shelter out of that. Yeah, you wouldn't break it there.
No.
And you can even weave that down even more. You could take that apart, even go thinner. And a really good paracord, you can break that down forever. I can break that down even more.
So how do you know what good paracord is?
It's 550.
55 or something.
The
550.
550 paracord, that's the military stuff. I gave him a bunch of it, but it's. So it doesn't matter if you buy it at Walmart decks or anything, as long as it says
No,
550,
It says
it should be
550
good.
on it,
Yeah,
yeah.
if
And
it's
what
a-
the 550 signifies is it's good for 550 pounds per square per inch.
Some of, some of the ropes out there aren't good. I mean, you go to like the True Value and you'll see the $10 for like 25 feet of this real cheap stuff. I saw one kid who was using it to climb trees and stuff, doing tree work, and I said,
Yeah.
you're gonna kill yourself, right? That's not good for kids.
If you can't build a shelter because of your materials, dig a ditch. Dig a ditch and put the dirt on the wind side. Now you have at least something protecting you from the wind. Find a rock, find a cave, find a natural windbreak to get you out of the elements. When selecting a shelter, where to put it. The first thing you want to do is look up, make sure there's no widowmakers, nothing hanging, no bees nests, no bears in the trees above you. Make sure that you're in a good safe spot. If you're looking to be saved, you want to be on the edge of a field. If you want to not be saved, you want to be hiding, you want to be deeper into the woods. There's a big argument of where to put your shelter. Should you be in a valley? Should you be up top? You should go in the valley because it's better, or you should go up top because it's warmer. Where you really want to be is on the side of a hill, where it's flat, where water doesn't run onto it. Valleys collect cold air, they collect moisture. Up the top of a hill, it's going to be windy, it's going to be harder to build a shelter. Have your shelter opening facing south, because we live in the northern hemisphere. You're going to get the most sun into your shelter, and it's going to be natural heating for your shelter. If south is where the wind is coming up the hill, turn it a little bit east then. Don't have your opening towards the wind. Right, because then you're going to be just defeating the purpose of having a shelter. Make sure your shelter opening isn't facing where the water is coming down. If you've got to dig a little trench in front of around your shelter, even just take a stick and mark the ground. It's going to catch that runoff and get it out of your shelter. So halfway up the hill, facing south, not under any dead trees, not around any dead trees. Get yourself a nice shelter. You're going to be comfortable. And if comfortable enough, start thinking about a fire. A fire does not keep you warm. Your shelter, your clothing, that keeps you warm. A fire is a tool, just like anything else. Fire cooks your food, it's your light, it boils your water, it makes your tools. You can do everything with fire. It's your signaling device. If you do want to get saved, fire is a tool, and you have to use it as a tool. I carry a .44 Magnum loaded right here all the time. I've never shot it. I didn't load it. I don't know how to take the safety off, but I carry it with me all the time, right? How many of you guys carry these?
I have.
And never used one? If you haven't lit a fire with this, go to the gun range and practice, because why would I carry a gun if I don't know how to use it? But hey, I might need it. If you carry one of these, go in your backyard and make 35s. My son's an Eagle Scout. He's gonna kill me because it's on camera.
We actually do, we did,
Fire starting?
Yeah, we were doing fire starting in
Good.
Brookfield.
Good.
We had all kinds of different things that people had come up with.
Best thing though
Survival stuff.
is different ways to light fires. My son's an Eagle Scout. He's gonna kill me. This is on camera. He comes to me, Dad, I went camping. I said, yeah. He goes, I went through a whole book of matches and I could not light a fire. I went out and I bought 2 of these. I said, come on, kid, we're gonna go learn how to make fires because you're gonna never use the matches again. And we sat in the backyard. First night we couldn't get a fire going. Second night we got the fire going. Then all of a sudden we don't use matches anymore. We use these. I love these because they can get soaking wet and you can still use them after. I don't use a little strike. I use my knife. Probably not good for it, but it's just one less thing to have to carry with you. These are awesome. They're very good to have. The fire plungers. I really like this. I never knew they even had things like this, and I was teaching this to Cub Scouts, little 7- and 8-year-olds, how to make fires. So I saw this at Walmart, and I'm like, yeah, I'll try it. I said to the kid, here, take this, you're gonna light a fire, and I'm gonna count to see how long it takes you to light a fire. He goes, okay, and before I said 1, he had a fire going. Because when you put it in, it just makes sparks. It's the easiest thing, and you could have a broken arm and a broken leg and light a fire. It's awesome. They have those ferro rods, you hit them and they just spark. They have all kinds of new things out there to make fires. Check them out. Lighters. I always carry a lighter. I make my wife, my kids, everyone carry a lighter. Matches. You guys, a lot of you guys carry matches. Carry a birthday candle. Take out 2 of the matches and put a birthday candle in there, because you can stick the birthday candle into the ground, light the match, light the candle, and then you can like build your fire around it. And once your fire gets going, you get a candle. And because you light the one match and you shake in underneath it, oh, you know, I'm gonna run out of matches. The candle will burn for what, 10 minutes? You know, even little stubs of candles, throw that in your pack. You know, then you can use it after for a light source. This is from an old flashlight. Way this is built, it's purposely made for, it takes the bulb and it collects all the light from the bulb and shines out. So everything is focused to the middle. If you took your grass bundle and you stuck it in there and you held it to the sun, it's reverse. It collects all the light and it focuses it back to the middle. So you can take a little grass bundle and put that in the sun and it collects and it lights right up. You want to talk about way easier than a magnifying glass? We set a magnifying glass up on a stand with a grass bundle. 3 hours later, the kids said, hey, I think, oh no, it didn't do anything. One of the kids went, oh, hey, here you go, and it was on fire. I was like, holy cow, it works.
Cool.
It works pretty good. You can take the flashlight, very carefully smack the bulb without bending the filaments. Take your grass bundle and put it in there, turn the flashlight on. The spark between will light the stuff on fire. You might get 1 or 2 operations out of it before it burns itself out, but in a bad situation.
And even when they go out, you can still knock the wire back on again. We did that in our ambulance. Our lights were on. You can flick them, and there you go back on.
The 9-volt battery and the steel wool, I know you guys are talking about this. One of the things is the grade of the steel wool you buy, the finer the better, and you want to use it in conjunction with your cotton ball. Fire is a chemical reaction. You need fuel, you need oxygen, and you need a spark. Really fluff up to get that oxygen in there. The more oxygen, the more better. Then you can take your steel wool across, and you're just sparking enough to catch the cotton on fire. I love cotton as a fire starter. I carry it in all my bags. It is awesome. Some of you guys I know said you put petroleum jelly on it. I don't. They burn awesome. They burn longer with the petroleum jelly.
But also you can use that for like if you were saying you get blisters.
Yes.
You can use the petroleum jelly for chafing and stuff.
That's a great idea. Never thought of that. Everything should have 2 uses. That's a good idea. The big thing a lot of guys have problems with is they take their cotton balls and they try to light it like that, and there's no oxygen in the center. Really fluff it up. We did this with the scouts, and one of the kids used the steel on the battery, and then I gave him a match, and he couldn't light the fire with the match. And he was so mad that he was going to fail the merit badge. He stayed there for like a half an hour, gathering all the stuff and trying it again just so he could pass the merit badge because he couldn't pass the match. Collecting wood when you're building a fire. Don't look down. Everyone looks down for firewood. They go over and they gather stuff off the ground. The ground's wet. It holds water. The wood's going to be wet. Wood's not going to burn as well. Look up. Go to a pine tree. Clip off the little ends. Bark. You can take a whole piece of bark, scrape the inside of it, and you'll get this powder out of it, and you can use that for a fire starter. Dead grass. Dead grass is probably the closest thing to cotton. Really use the very fine ends of it, really fluffy goldenrod.
Birch.
Bark's awesome. You can dip that in water, pull it out, light it on fire, and it'll go right up. Yeah, that stuff's awesome. You guys know what cat and nine tails are? The insides of the hot dog, if you cut that open, it's all fluffy. That stuff's a great fire starter. But you wanna look up. Collect your wood from the air. So the air's dried it, the sun's dried it. There's 4 types of wood that you wanna use. Alright, you have your tinder. In this case, be it the cotton ball or the dry grass. Dry grass is awesome. Alright, then you have the kindling. Then you have the squaw wood. Then you have your actual firewood or logs. A lot of people try going from either here to here, or they go from here to here, and they're wondering why their fire's not going. It's because you're trying to skip the progression of a fire. The BTUs to light this up compared to this, I could hold my lighter on this for 3 minutes and the thing's not going to go up. But something like that takes a lot less energy to get that going. This is kindling. This is your stage after. This is the squaw wood. It's called squaw wood because the Indians used to take the kids and the women and they would gather armfuls of this and they'd pile it up near their camp. And then this is what they'd use once they got this going. They'd bring this stuff in. A lot of people try, I've seen so many kids do this. All right, let's go light a fire. And that goes and it burns out and they're like, why didn't my fire go? I would gather, once you gather a handful of this, go back and grab 4 more of them. I want a bundle like this. And as soon as I build my shelter, I'm throwing an armful of it right in my shelter to keep it dry. Because this is going to get your fire going. So, your tinder, this or your grass, your kindling, an armful of this. Your squaw wood is anything like thumb size and bigger, you know, stuff you don't have to cut, stuff you just grab up and break and easily put on the fire that's going to sustain a little longer. And your firewood is stuff that's you can't break and you just burn it in half and flip it back in there. I'd love to have a fire making class when we do that camp out at your house. I love making fires. We do it all the time. We were coming up with like 8 different ways to make fires, even to the point where you take ice and you shape it with your hands until it becomes a magnifying glass and use that to make a fire. You take a soda bottle, and exactly like this, take chocolate and you polish the bottom of a soda can or a beer can so it becomes really bright because the chocolate makes the aluminum super shiny and you can reflect the sun off of that to light a fire. I haven't got that one to work yet.
Have you tried whittling that?
I watched 2 people do the bow. I've tried it myself. I have never seen it successfully done. I know on the TV shows,
Fat Men in the Woods, they do that.
they do it all the time, and it's usually time lapse because it's 45 minutes of going until the thing gets going. The big thing is the type of material you use, the spindle and the holder and the block. All you're doing is making this end of your spindle is becoming the coal, and your board has to be notched. So once you make that coal, it falls into the notch and through the notch into your tinder bundle, because your tinder bundle is actually below your board that has the notch. So as you spin this, this becomes the coal, it breaks off, falls through the notch and into your tinder bundle, and then you grab your tinder bundle and blow that to fire.
That right there, well, when we were doing it, I got things going and I'm trying to blow on it, it's not going. This young kid picked it up, fluffed it up a little and started blowing on it and got it going, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't have a problem.
If you do the little simple things though, it works good.
The other thing is too, is a lot of kids will get them going and then they're searching for their stuff. If you have your thing ready where you can, as soon as that bundle gets going and you can put it underneath it and then you can just kind of tuck it together, that makes it a lot easier. Be ready, because you might only have one shot at making that fire. Especially if you crash and you just built a shelter, now it's 5:30 at night and you're like, damn, it's getting dark, I just want a fire. You know, you're nervous, you're scared, you're tired, you just built a shelter, you want to drink the water and you haven't even thought about that yet. Take your time, you're building a fire. Just like building a house, you're building a fire. Take steps, do it right, and it'll work out for you. All right, after you take care of your head, take care of your body, build a shelter, your fire, it's a tool. Now you go into food and water. I am probably the least of an expert when it comes to food in the wilderness. This is a great follow-up next week when we learn how to set snares and traps. I've tried setting 54 deadfalls. My kid caught a squirrel with a stick and a bucket, and he pulled the string and he actually caught a squirrel. I've gone gigging for frogs. But as far as survival food, I know I can eat dandelions, I know I can eat clover, and I know I can eat plantains. I made the pine needle tea, and it gave me the worst headache in the world. Oh, steep pine needles in hot water, and it's a delicious tea. If you steep it too long, it's soap. Yeah, me and my son looked at each other, I'm like, my freaking head is killing me. He goes, Dad, I have the worst headache ever. I'm like, I'm never doing that again.
Willow branches are supposed to have like an aspirin in it.
Yep, you can brush your teeth with it. Yeah, it's an aspirin.
Like a tea or something.
I don't know if I try it after my last experience. I'm not really worried about food. When I go camping, I call my brother and I say, hey, I'm leaving Friday. This is the campsite I'm going to. I'll be back Monday at 6 o'clock. I'll give you a call. If he doesn't hear from me Monday, he's trying to call me on Tuesday. You know, I might be in the woods for a day or two. If I'm going kayaking with my wife, hey, kid, we're going to Brooks Pond kayaking. We'll be back at sunset. I know if I'm not back by 11 o'clock at night, he's calling me, wondering where the heck I am. So prepare yourself. If you're going camping, if you're going somewhere, tell someone, do a little research in the area, know where you are, know where the main roads are. Give yourself, you know, a head start on where, especially if you're like snowmobiling in Maine, which is big. A lot of these guys go up on these super highways and they just go for miles and miles and miles. That was awesome. Took you 3 seconds to get that picture today of the parking lot. If you're going camping, take an overview of where you are. If you're going snowmobile, take an overview of where you are, so at least you have some idea. Oh crap, my snowmobile crashed. I know east was that city. Okay, now at least you have a direction of where you want to signal to or where you want to head to. As far as food goes, you got 3 weeks you can survive without food. You can survive a couple nights on eating dandelions. My father used to make dandelion salad. It's all right. I know you can cook it and you like Spanish. It ain't that good, but you know what? You can eat it. Clover, you feel like a cow out there eating clover, but hey, it'll keep you alive. Put something in your belly. Water. Water's the big one because when you start building shelters and fires and you're sweating and you're moving, you really need water, because if you don't have a proper amount of water, it goes back to physical. You're going to wear yourself out, you're going to get sick, and then start breaking down mentally. My son built this. I told him we were doing this class, and he's big into survival too. So he took a soda bottle out of the house, he cut the cap with his knife, he put a little piece of shirt in there, put it back on. This is charcoal from a fire, sand, and rocks. This is your basic water filter. And if you don't think you can find an old beer can, soda bottle, something in the woods, walk in the woods. There's trash everywhere.
Well, a piece of wood.
A piece of wood, you can coal burn out a piece of wood if you had to. This is a basic survival water filter. It's like 3 inches of charcoal, 3 and 3. It took them, I don't know, 20 minutes to make it, if that. It was probably the hardest thing was getting the sand in the rocks, because we had a little snow on the ground. So we had to go dig up the sand in the backyard. I haven't found the hole yet, so I'm still trying to figure out where we got the sand from. The charcoal is the big one. The rocks takes out all the big sediment. The sand, it's a natural filter, and then the charcoal is going to take out a lot of the crap. Charcoal was made to your first tool, fire. You burn hardwood, you get charcoal. You burn softwood, you get ash. So you break down a couple of hardwood logs and get some charcoal off it, you can make yourself a water filter. Hence, this is why fires are ahead of water. You can filter out the water, and then you can boil it. How long do you boil water for? I've heard 1 minute, just get to water, boil. 20 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
1 minute, and then over 2,000 feet, it's supposed to be 2 minutes or something.
Boil it as long as you feel like you need to. I have not found a good answer. I've heard 20 minutes, boil it for 20 minutes.
Bring it to a boil, right?
Yeah, bring it to a boil. If you filter it, if you put a cloth over the end and you turn your bottle, so it's not, if the water's running this way, you turn your bottle like this, and you put a cloth over it. You don't want to fill it like this, you want to fill it backwards. So it fills up, now you've already screened it once. And you put it through here and you've drained it once, and now you're gonna boil it. That's gonna be fine. It's gonna be good to drink. I drink a lot of water up in Maine without boiling it. I probably shouldn't. I've had dysentery before, it's not fun. But boil it, bring it to a boil, whatever you do. If you don't have a metal container, how do you boil water? It's called rock boiling. You take your hat, fill it with water, you heat rocks in the fire, and you put them into the water, and it'll boil the water. Rock boiling, it's super easy. It's what you can do if you don't have a metal container. You can use canvas, your jacket, whatever you have to use to do it. Heat the rocks up, make sure they're not river rocks. Heat them up, put them in, you'll see that water come right to a boil. As far as other ways to get water, obviously go downhill, find a low spot, you can dig a hole and hopefully water goes into it. Look for animal tracks. Animal tracks usually lead to water. Migrating birds, look for birds flying. We're in New England, there's a lot of water around. I mean, you can get into the point of take a plastic bag and wrap it around some pine branches, and in the morning there'll be a couple of droplets in there and stuff. Making a solar still where you can dig a hole and cover with plastic. Then you need these materials to do it. You get 3 days. You get 3 days before you're going to keel over without water. Hopefully it's going to rain or snow, or you can find some source of water where you can filter it and boil it and drink it.
Is that thing from the flashlight, is that plastic? Or
It's
is
like
that
a-
tin?
Yeah, kind of.
I was just wondering if it was tin or plastic.
Feels like plastic.
Yeah, plastic.
They make tin ones too. That was a pretty cheap flashlight. It's pretty cool though. It's an easy way to make a fire.
I never heard about that.
You said not river rocks, why wouldn't you want to use
River
that?
rocks have water in them, and when you put them on the fire, they will pop on you, and they can explode violently. So we try getting rocks that aren't near a riverbed. But hopefully you're near a river. It makes getting water a lot easier. And you can take those same rocks and bring them into your shelter, and you can lay them on the ground, cover them with dirt, and sleep on them. It'll make it a lot warmer. You can take your Nalgene bottle, fill it with warm water, put it in your shirt. Another way water will help you keep warm. Boil water, you can even pee in the bottle. Hopefully you have 2 bottles, one for water, one for pee. And you can put that in your shirt, your pee comes out 98 degrees. You put it in between, don't put it on your skin, put it in between, and it'll keep you warm. Yep.
Don't pee on yourself.
Don't drink your pee. I got all these videos and all these shows, people drink their pee. Pee has a high salt content. Salt dries you out. Pee on a rag, wipe it on your head, wipe it on your lips, wipe it on the back of your neck if you're really, really dying of thirst. If you want to drink your pee, go ahead. God bless you, but the salt content will probably dry you out worse than the water will do good for you. Would you eat your own poop? If you were that hungry, would you eat your own poop? No, then why are you going to drink your own water? Your body don't want it, and already get rid of it once. The last two kind of go hand in hand. It's loneliness and boredom. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but go sit in the woods for 2 hours by yourself, no cell phone, don't talk to anybody, and just sit there.
I love it.
You love it. You're old. You're used to that.
Yeah,
Work alone all day long.
You're good, right. Well, when you don't know the next time you're gonna see somebody and you start getting lonely, it leads immediately back to mental, because now you're starting to stress out. Oh, what's my wife doing? Is she all right? Is she nervous? Oh my God, my kids, they're gonna miss me. And you start making bad decisions because you immediately jump back to number one. So it doesn't matter what shelter you have. It doesn't matter if you have an hospice fire ever, right, and you have a dead deer sitting there next to you. If you start getting stupid in your head because you're lonely, you automatically back to number one and you're gonna make bad decisions. Boredom comes along.
Personalities.
Yeah.
Boredom comes along, it's gonna be a while before you're bored, because by the time you've made a shelter, and you've made a fire, and you're trying to make this stupid filter out of a soda bottle you find on the side of the river, right? You're talking a couple days later where boredom might kick in. I love making stuff out of sticks. I've tried making chairs and tables and forks and spoons. I've tried it all. I'm not bored in the woods. I like being in the woods. But you know what? After a couple days of being by myself, I'm gonna start going, what the hell am I gonna do here? Well, then you start working on things like making a better shelter, signaling for help. Signaling they don't include in this, and this is a prepping group. Sometimes you don't want to be found.
Maybe go out in the field and make some kind of a
Huge-
noticeable thing. with
Huge
branches.
ass fire, the international, three rocks, 3 gunshots.
3 fires.
3 fires, 3 of anything. You make a fire, a big fire, you put a bunch of green stuff on it, it's gonna smoke. Don't do it at night, do it in the middle of the day, and just keep throwing stuff on it until somebody comes and gets you, or you burn the woods down and you don't have to worry about it. Make a big fire.
BLM will come get you if you're on their property.
They see a big smoky fire anywhere in New England.
The towers are gonna see it.
Yeah.
The cops will be there,
Yeah.
writing your ticket.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you'll be alive, you're safe.
You're not cooking food.
You happen to see the 2 guys that were running off into the woods and a bunch of kids laid down, made an arrow for the helicopter?
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that
That's
pretty
pretty cool.
That's
That's
probably
cool.
kids, something like kids, they probably learned something just from a little course they took, you know?
Yeah,
That's pretty
that's
cool.
awesome. Always remember, and I'm big on this, is skill is always greater than gear. If you have a backpack full of items, I could say, Steve, take 10 items, 10 any items you want, and go survive a night in the woods. Right? You could probably do it. You can say, I want a tent, and I want an axe, and I want a saw, and I'm gonna take a couple gallons of water, and you're gonna go out and you're gonna have a grand old time. All right, now do it with 8 items. Now do it with 6 items. Now do it with 1 item. You got 1 item, Steve. Go spend it that night. Your skill, your knowledge, you can't leave that at home. You can't leave it behind. You don't have to pack it. You have the skill to do it. I gutted a fish with a stick. It was one of my proudest moments of my life. I broke a stick to a point, and I gutted the fish with a stick. I didn't have my freaking knife on me. I did it. It sucked. I was pretty gross after, but I was proud because I'm like, hey, I did it. One thing I'll never leave behind is this, because I'm not doing that stupid bumping
That's
two
my
sticks
number
together.
one. I
Me
think
too.
that's- Yeah.
That's my one weakness, is making a fire.
Number one, I think everything else you can probably,
do without.
That's right.
You know, you can smash 2 rocks together until you get something sharp enough to, you know. So skill is always better than gear, but make it easier on yourself. Make it easier. You could probably do it. I could probably stick him out in the woods with nothing and say, hey, we'll pick you up tomorrow. I'll come back, he's gonna be dirty and pissed off at me, but he's gonna be alive.
Yeah.
Now I start going 2 days, makes it a little harder, 3 days. Now you're talking about, really hard. So gear up. What would you take? You say a lighter
yep.
or a fire starter.
Fire starter.
Your kid is gonna be the size of your pocket. What would you put, what would you want in one of your kids?
A knife.
A knife. Anything else? Throw it out there.
You know, probably
Emergency blanket.
with me something to
Yeah,
whip
solo
her off
blanket.
this.
Yeah, solo blanket.
I made a whole shelter out of it. I had brought 3 emergency blankets. One was used, which you cannot put it back in a bag.
Right.
I balled it up and threw it in a Ziploc bag, and I brought 2 others with me, because I was teaching the class, and I'm helping this kid, I'm helping that kid, I'm helping this kid. Boom, it's nighttime. I'm like, I haven't made a shelter yet. I'm like, you know what, I have all these stupid emergency blankets. I took a paracord and I tied it from one tree to another, put this high off the ground, and I took one of them, I put it over this way, put a couple rocks on it, put the other over this way, put a couple rocks on it, laid the other one down on the ground, and I slept in that. I was sweating. It is so warm, it's ridiculous. They work. You can get better ones. The ones they sell at Walmart are awesome. They're one use. They save you. You want to be warm? They save
They
you.
have the tents now too, the little
Yes,
emergency
like
solar
emergency
tents,
tents,
right,
yeah. They also sell like, it's almost like a tarp with that reflective on one side, so you can fold it up and take it with you. It's awesome. They're awesome, but they're not this big. They're like, you know, this big. They fold down all right, but you're going fishing, are you gonna put that in your back pocket? No, but you might throw one of those emergency blankets with you. Water. I'd like to have at least a bottle of water with me. I don't know how I'd boil this with this, but at least I have a container I can collect it with, and then I'll start thinking about how I'm gonna boil it after, whether it's rock boiling inside my sweatshirt or
Just filter the shit out of it.
filter the shit out of it. You really don't want dysentery, it's not fun, but you know, I would find some way to filter it into, maybe find some trash and make something out of it. There's trash everywhere. So luckily we live in America, which is really gross, and you can find all kinds of things out there to use to help you.
McDonald's trash.
You
don't
know how
touch
many Mylar balloons I find down back, Rich?
Yeah.
You know, and those, I mean, those things are great for,
You know, you have a nice blanket for that night.
yeah, well, they're not that big.
We've hiked for 2.5 miles through the woods of Maine. Nobody's been on this trail for 100 years. We get to this pond, it's gorgeous, glass, right? Look over, there's an old canoe there, an old fire, a frying pan, and like 12 empty beer cans. They've been there for 20 years,
Yeah.
but they're still there. And I'm like,
right.
you know what? Well, of course the kids jump in the canoe and swamp the thing, but there's all this stuff in the middle of nowhere. So if you're anywhere around, you're gonna find stuff that you can use.
I heard, as far as taking like water from a river,
Yeah,
if you were to dig a hole a few feet off the riverside, and just let the water drain through the dirt, kind of filters it,
yeah,
and then you can get it and collect it and do stuff like.
right, because it's gonna
natural
not have
water.
the sediments in it and things like that. Absolutely, you know. What else would you guys wanna carry with you? I like 20-pound fishing test.
And
It's
paracord,
paracord. The 20-pound test is for snares. You can use it if you need to make shelters out of it. You can use it for a lot of things. It's light, it's small. You can wrap it around a nail or a lighter, and you have some with you. One of the kids, I didn't get it at first, and then I really understood, and it kind of hit home with me. Kid, and he pulls it out. He's got a knife. He's got his little fire starter. I think he had a granola bar and a little Bible this big. I'm like, that's your kid? He's like, yep. I'm like, what's the Bible for? He goes, it makes me feel good. He goes, if I'm scared, I read it.
yeah.
I'm like, that's awesome. That's awesome. I could not complain. I'm like, that's a freaking great idea. He goes, I feel good. I'm like, that's all that matters, right? When you're sitting in your shelter and he's got his fire going, he can read his Bible and feel good. One of the kids brought a little picture of his family, and I wasn't sure about that one because,
Right.
oh, I miss my mom and dad, you know. But you got a picture, so is that going to make you feel better or worse? You know, you watch a lot of these shows. I watched a show, a guy went up and lived in Canada by himself. He was going to spend 6 months up there. I think it was 45 days into it. I'm going to open a letter for my girlfriend. He left the next day. He was fined for 45 days and left the next day. I miss my girlfriend. We're going to go get married. Get me out of here.
It's a dead John Lewis.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that show where they dropped those 10 people off up in Alaska,
Yep.
and they had no contact. Unless they called to
Yep.
take them out.
Alone.
Yep, alone.
I
That's right.
like that too, and it was very realistic.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of like Bear Grylls.
Yeah,
The Wes,
For Les Stroud?
Les Stroud is the best. He actually trains pilots if they're down,
Mhm.
how to survive. And he's trained the Canadian Air Force how to survive in the woods if they're down. His honeymoon was him and his wife took an axe and a pan and went into the woods and lived for 6 months. That was his honeymoon.
Wow.
God bless his wife. I'm not big on those because a lot of them are set up. All right, you ready? Here comes the pig.
Yeah.
Now kill him with a
Yeah,
spear.
yeah.
Oh yeah, we're great white hunters.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, a lot of them are just set up to show you what
That's
you
right.
could do. But like that alone show, fantastic.
Yeah.
Because, you know, these guys, they're all survival experts.
Yep.
One of them, it was, he like did the whole Appalachian Trail, he lived in the desert for like 3 months, and they had to submit a resume of what they had done to be able to get on that show. So, I mean, these aren't guys.
That's
who-
why that first guy drank the water out of the brook. The next day he's gone.
He was drinking brackish water.
Brackish water.
Yes,
Then
yeah.
he went to the city and a guy shot him or
No
something.
way.
Did he really?
No.
Oh.
You're safer in the woods.
Yeah.
The new episodes of that are coming out this month.
Yeah, the new
Oh,
show
really?
starts, yeah.
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 That Fat Man in the Woods is pretty good. I know,
I haven't seen that one yet.
Fat Man in the Woods, it's
Yeah.
pretty good,
He actually makes them, I mean, they have to make their camp and they get frustrated, these guys, and he checks on them and stuff, but.
They get frustrated. One of the first things you gotta do is keep a cool head. It's
Yeah.
tough.
But they overcome a lot of stuff and it's pretty good. I like it. I thought it was pretty good. So I've only watched like 4 times.
I've seen a lot of them, and like I say, Les Stroud's probably the best out of all of them, because he films himself while he's doing it, and you know he's legit. I read a lot of Indian books. I love the Indian lore, and they were here for hundreds of years
Yeah.
with nothing, you know.
Ultimate survival.
Well, they're surviving. They're thriving. They're not surviving, they're thriving. And they're having a village made out of 2 guys with a stick and, you know, and their wives, and they go out and they build a whole village out of it. So they really used every resource they could. When you're making fire, you have ash and you have charcoal. The coal can be used to filter your water.
Yeah, you're supposed to put it in, after it's cooled down, put it in bags or something. If you have a like a backpack or something,
Yep.
save it for your water filtration.
And the ash, you can mix that with water if you have a stomach ailment, and it helps calm your stomach down. Everything you have can be used for other things, you know. You can make fishing hooks out of squirrel bones and all that stuff. I don't know how long you're gonna be planning on being lost in the woods. If you're making fishing hooks out of squirrel bones, God bless you, you made it, you did it, you're surviving. But even like the flashlight, you know, you crash and your flashlight's broken. Now you're starting going, okay, what can I use this for? What can I use, you know, what can I use this for? You're gonna have to really think about a beer can. What can you use a beer can for? I'm thinking you can make a mousetrap out of it, you can boil water in it, you can pick berries and put it in it. You can do a lot of different things. You can open it up and use it for a signaling device. You're really gonna start thinking, like we were talking about go bags and, you know, put everything in a plastic bag. Why? Because now you have a plastic bag. Not only do you have your tinder, but now you get a plastic bag. That plastic bag can store water. That plastic bag can be used for multiple uses. You can slice it and use it for cordage if you have to.
Bread bags are good for that.
Bread bags.
Waterproof your boots,
Yep.
do whatever.
Now you're showing your age.
Yeah. What do you mean?
The wonder bags on the feet. Yep.
Yeah.
Inside the base too.
So everything you're
Was
gonna.
it Wonder Bread?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only brand of bread back there. Anything you're gonna put in your little survival kit, know what you can use it for, and try to get as many uses out as you can. Even a bandana. Bandana can be used for 100 different things, from a sling to a water filter to sweat off your head. You know, whatever you're gonna use it for. So I'm gonna challenge you guys to make a little kit. Bring them in, show them off. Show them off to your buddies. Well, Sukrat's box, a little pouch. They have like these little camera pouches and pouches you can get. They're like this big, and you take it with you. Oh, I'm going hunting. Throw in your bag. Oh, I'm going snowmobiling. Throw in your bag. Oh, me and my kid are gonna go for a bike ride through Rutland State Park. Throw in your bag. Take it with you. Doesn't work if it's not with you, because if you have nothing with you, now you're just relying on your skill. Make it easier on yourself. Bring a little bit, and really, really, really try to hone your skills through doing it, the only way you can. If you want to be a good marksman, you go out and you throw a couple thousand rounds to a gun, you're going to get better, right? You light a couple hundred fires using it.
Yeah, camping's the best thing. Go out and camp.
Go out and
You
camp.
learn so much.
Yeah, do it in
The
your
food
backyard.
always seems to taste better when you cook it.
Yeah, when we go camping, just so you know, I had thought about this, and I think I'm gonna give the award to the most creative campsite. So, and
I'm bringing my
creative
camper.
means
Yeah.
creative means the most natural uses of everything. Not coming out with like a battery, with running lines over. your gas grill, stuff like that, yeah.
I was gonna bring my generator.
Yeah.
All right, let's do a quick recap here. Then, nothing else matters. Nothing else matters.
Yeah.
Take care of your head. If your head's not right, it doesn't matter. You're gonna be in a bad
Focus,
spot.
calm.
You're gonna make bad decisions. Physical, have to take care of your body. If your body will tell you if it's hurting, you're gonna make yourself, put yourself in a worse situation. Shelters, halfway up a hill. Keep the openings facing south. Use your surroundings. If you have a bunch of pine trees, use it. If you're in a fern patch, use it. If you know you want to get rescued and you can see your field right there, get to that edge of that field. Now there's grass everywhere in that field. Use the grass for your walls if you have to. If whatever materials you have, use those materials. Down logs are awesome. You can build a shelter right off a down log. You can dig a little ditch next to a down log and stay in that. Fire, practice, practice, practice. Look up for your kindling and your tinder.
I bet you most people probably look on the ground first.
There's a guy I go camping with all the time, and he takes pine needles and he brings them over and throws them on the fire. And I look at him, I go, those aren't good. And he comes back with another armful. And I push him to the side, and I go out and I get some grass, and I get a fire coming. And he comes over with this big green branch, and he throws it on top. Yeah, but watch. And then it dies out, and then you get this big wet, slopping log sitting there. And then I take it out, and I move it to the side, and I go get some dry stuff and put it on top. And it does
Joe,
it
is he
every
talking about
single
you?
time. No. He does it every single time. And he's trying to throw pine cones on there, he's trying to throw leaves on there. Oh, leaves go right up. You just got that leaf from underneath that whole pile of stuff over there, and they're all sopping wet. Yeah, so it will go up, because everything's gonna be dry. That wind's gonna dry everything right out.
That's when you ask him for a shirt. Give me a shirt for a minute. Now he's sitting there. He won't do that again.
Water. Once you start building shelters and stuff, you're gonna get dehydrated quick. Conserve your energy. If you're sweating, open your jacket up. Try not to sweat. Go at a good pace. Don't overexert yourself. Food. Do your research. My buddy goes and picks mushrooms all the time. He went with his grandparents. His mother goes. He goes. They all go, and they all have these. They know every single. They go by and they go. That guy from Old Sturbridge Village. He can go by and tell you all these foods you can eat. I grow blueberries in my yard. I was in Maine. I said, "Oh, look at all those blueberries." I walked over. I picked one. I went to eat it, and I looked back and I went, "Wow, they're all blue." I'm like, "Oh, wait a second. Blueberries don't ever all go blue at the same time." And I was like this close from putting it in my mouth, and I noticed. I went, "Yeah, those aren't blueberries."
What was it, blackberry or something?
Wasn't a blueberry, because it'd be a couple of green ones, it'd be a couple of pink ones, it'd be a couple of blue ones. They were all blue, and I was like, "Yeah, no, that's not it." And I really looked close, and the blueberries were there, and these were right there, and I'm like, those are blueberries.
So you didn't have Sheila taste for them?
She don't cook either. Do your research on your food. I've read 1,000 books on food, and I try to identify it, and I'm like, wait a second, is this something you're supposed to eat or not supposed to eat? And there's pictures, and you're looking at the picture going, right, is that the right plan? Is that what I'm supposed to do? Do your own research, because I'm not going to tell you what to eat other than dandelions. Everyone knows what a dandelion is. Everyone knows what a four-leaf clover looks like. Everyone knows what, cat nine-tail looks like. Loneliness, that's just through spending time in the woods, spending time with yourself and mentally preparing yourself for doing it. The more you know, if you're really good at shelter building and you can build a fire, you're gonna kind of be all right with it,
You'll be able to preoccupy yourself getting your,
Right, doing stuff, staying
utilizing
busy.
your time to get your campsite ready for the next night, maybe.
Exactly. I mean, you could spend 3 hours making a nice bed for yourself if you really want to. And boredom, again, same as loneliness, keep yourself busy. Just practice. The more you know, the more skill you have, the less you're going to be scared, the less you're going to be lonely. You're going to have things you want to do. We do this every single year with the Boy Scouts. We go to different places. I've had one kid cry that he wanted to go home. One, out of all the classes.
Is that Alex?
No, no. It was thunder and lightning. He did not want to be there.
No.
Just did not want to be there.
Yeah.
quit scouts right after that, I don't know why. But most of these kids are all right with it, and if a kid can do it, you guys can do it. You guys are, you know, preppers, gotta be prepared for this stuff.
Well, it's like even in a, like jump out, bug out bags or whatever, you keep a pack of cards and,
Yep,
you know, something in
exactly.
there just to, you know, something like, a couple things to read or something that keep yourself preoccupied.
Yep, keep your mind active. Any questions?
That was pretty cool.
Class.
Thank you.